Welcome. Welcome to the 4 Wide Fantasy Podcast, episode 0. We're so glad you came to stop by and check us out. Obviously, if you're here, you're a football fan, a fantasy football fan, a dynasty football fan, something like that, just like us. And we thank you for being a fan, for checking us out, for stopping on in. And you may be asking yourself, what makes this one unique? Why another fantasy football podcast? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Your hosts, Matt, Will, Shed, and Olu. We are the only Matt, Shed, Will, and Olu on the face of the planet. And this is going to be a unique, a fun, and an exciting podcast. And we're so glad to share our thoughts with you. We look forward to developing this and going forward. And we are 4 guys that are friends. And you may be asking, what inspired you to do this? Well, actually, I'll be honest with you. It happened when I was on a road trip. I think we all were thinking something similar, but I think it really all came to fruition when I was on a road trip with my wife going to Napa Valley, and Olu called me on his birthday. And of course, the phone was on Bluetooth. And here we are yelling, talking, speaking all loud. And my wife says, "You should start a podcast." And so all of us were probably thinking how cool it would be since we're all in a league together. And we're all in a dynasty league. And like any fantasy or dynasty league goes, there is a group chat. And the group chat is somewhat sacred, but also very special, full of takes, full of roasts, full of stats, full of all sorts of great things. And then we thought to ourselves, we can't keep this to ourselves. We've got to share this with the world. One thing we guarantee you is that this podcast will have clean content. We are men of faith. This will not have any profanity or vulgarity. I know I enjoy listening to podcasts. I always have my kids in the car, and I'm always hesitant because I wonder if whoever's talking is going to say something raunchy. And if they do, my kids say, "Daddy, that's a bad word." You won't have to worry about that listening to our podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves so you know who we are. Take it away, guys.
All right, I'm Will, and what unique things I bring to this discussion. I've been playing fantasy football for probably 20 years now, since middle school or high school. I am almost always one of the most active guys on the waiver wire and trades. At the end of the season, when they list your transactions, I probably have more than anybody every year. I've done redraft and dynasty, half PPR, full PPR standard, and I don't know if I have ever missed the playoffs. I'm always going to be in the top 6 in a 12-man league. So I'm looking forward to sharing some insights and some hot takes with everybody listening.
All right. My name is Shed Taylor, and what makes this situation unique with myself is I've been playing Dynasty Fantasy Football for about 20 years, various leagues, like Will talked about, redraft, Dynasty, Standard, half PPR, keeper leagues as well, too. Having almost never missed the playoffs, having won multiple leagues I've played in, and been a top 3 team various times in various leagues. I also understand various formats as we continue winning and being competitive. In addition, I actually bring something very unique because I have a sports background. My degree is in sports management, and I've worked for different sports teams, but also within the NFL too. So on my personal level, I love football, but also on a professional level, I bring experience as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Olu. I'm an avid football fan. I love watching football so much that I watch the coach's tape. I don't know if regular fans watch the coach tape, but I love watching the coach's tape, analyzing data, breaking down data, going to PFF, looking up data on there. So yeah, I enjoy doing that. And fantasy-wise, I've never come anything lower than 3. So yeah,
lies.
Yo, come on.
In any league besides ours, not in our league.
Do not lie to the people, Olu.
Redraft.
We are 5 minutes into episode 1, and you've already lied.
Oh my God. Okay,
we promised no vulgarity or profanity, but we didn't promise that Olu will
lie.
lie.
I can't promise you that.
What's the name of the podcast? 4 Wide? That was really wide.
All right. I'm sure, of course, somewhere down the road, we'll give more info on that.
We'll look forward to it.
And my name is Matt. I've been playing fantasy football for 20 years, maybe more. One unique thing about one of the leagues I'm in, shout out to a lot of these guys who are in my Club 130 league. We started a league 20 years ago that I commissioned, and the way we draft is totally offline. No lists, no ADPs, no computers, no notes. We come into the draft and we strictly draft via memory and via just knowledge. And so I love that. I've been doing fantasy, dynasty, best ball, DFS over DraftKings, FanDuel, Survivor leagues. I've been doing all sorts of stuff. I love it. Avid football fan, huge New York Giants fan, but I am not biased in my takes because I've suffered for a long time as a Giants fan. Speaking of bias, I'm surprised our brother Olu over here hasn't mentioned Tom Brady, and we are 6 minutes into our first episode.
You're going to hear a lot about Tom Brady on this podcast.
Yes.
But what's unique about us is I live in Massachusetts right now. Shed is in North Carolina, Olu's in Georgia, and Will's in Texas. But we all met through our church. We're all part of the same church, and we're all part of the same dynasty league right now. So anyways, with that, those are our intros. That's all the mushy stuff. Now let's hop into some exciting stuff. The first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to discuss projections, ADP projections. Obviously, by this time, if you're a fantasy football manager player, you've probably already had your draft by now. We're recording this podcast on Labor Day. It is literally, I think, 3 days until kickoff. So more than likely, you've had your redraft leagues, you've had your rookie dynasty leagues. And if you're like me, you like to listen to podcasts for a sense of validation after your draft to make sure like you did something right. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about first ADPs, maybe who is drafted or who is rated too high or who is rated too low. And for reference, we're going to use the ESPN Live ADP rankings. So, guys, I'd love to open up with you guys. Who do you think is too high on the ESPN Live rankings?
The guy I have here who is ranked too high is Cooper Kupp. Now, y'all have to hear me out on this one, okay? He is coming off the board as the 4th receiver overall and number 8 of all players, okay? So you're getting him middle to back half of the first round. No doubt that he is elite when he's healthy, but his injury, the hamstring at his age, is concerning. I think he has a massive range of outcomes this year, just how bad the Rams offense will be. Yes, he was the wide receiver 1 overall last year when he was healthy. I just don't see him being healthy. I think he'll still finish in the wide receiver 1 range, but not top 4. I'm looking at him more in the 10 to 12 range. I think he's overrated.
Listeners, keep receipts on that one. The latest Triple Crown winner, Will believes he's overrated. Go for it, Shed.
All right. So for me, it's going to be Najee Harris. Najee Harris, he's a 30th overall and RB11. Here's the thing is that he's in timeshare with Jalen Warren. Very similar to the situation like Zeke and Pollard. He went over 100 yards just one time all of last season. And during the preseason, Jalen Warren played every third down snap with the first team starters that were out there. An indication that Najee will be mainly a 2-down back. Also during the preseason, Jalen Warren earned about 43% of the team's first team snaps, nearing a 50-50 split with Najee. Last year, Warren also averaged 5.6 yards per touch, which was about 11th in the NFL, whereas Najee was all the way down at about 4.0 yards per touch. So you're talking about 5.6 versus 4.0. So my conclusion is that Najee's production will go down because of what the Steelers have in Warren. And don't be surprised if Steelers decide to let Najee walk after his contract is up.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, but let's just be honest. The value of running backs has been going down, right?
Wow.
And I think Najee in general, his ranking has been dropping, I feel like, every other week, right? He was a league winner his rookie year. I know Will won
the league with him as a rookie.
I won off
yes, in our dynasty league, yes.
Yeah. And then I won off of him in a redraft league, but I think since then, I think most people have agreed, like, he's dropping. He's dropping.
And, you know, honestly, in our dynasty league, I need a running back, and I've been trying to get Najee from Will for a long time, but Will price was Will too high. But, you know, I'm glad I kind of held back because I see Jalen Warren taking more of the snaps with the first team offense.
Yeah. No, good stuff. Shep, what about you, man?
Hear me out, okay? I do think Bijan Robinson is too high. They have him overall at 7.
Oh boy.
7.
Bijan.
Bijan Robinson.
Okay, go
Bijan.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Overall, 7. Running back 3. So let's take a look at this. He's a rookie. We don't know what's going to be in the league yet. Okay. And then think of something else. The top running back rookies that have been drafted in the last 3 years have not finished the year. So I'm thinking that's probably because of the workload from transitioning from college to the NFL. When you're top pick, they tend to give you all the workload because you're running back. For some reason, they tend to get hurt. If you look at Etienne, Travis Etienne got hurt, Dopkins got hurt, Damon Pierce got hurt, Kenneth Walker got hurt. So on and on and on. So there's a high likelihood Bijan might not finish the year. Okay, that's one. And 2, he's in the backfield with Tyler Algier, who also had over 1,000 yards in his first in just 9 games. He had over 1,000 yards. And also, you also have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London, you have a running quarterback who's going to take some of those runs too. So I don't think it's as high as most people think he is.
But you do understand that the Falcons led the league in rushing last year, right?
They did. Yes.
So
they did. However, one key thing is I don't believe, and I'm not wishing anything bad on him. I just don't believe he possibly finished the year just based on the workload that they might give to him very early.
No, that's good stuff. I know we're definitely going to be talking about Bijan a little bit more tonight. Mine, who do I think is too high? Some people might be mad at me about this, but I think Tony Pollard is too high on many of our lists, to be honest. You guys remember a few years ago, what was my guy's name coming out of Miami? He signed with Houston. What was his name? Miller.
Lamar Miller.
He gives me Lamar Miller vibes that last year in a timeshare, he split with Zeke. He had incredible efficiency, rushing over 5 yards per carry the last 2 years. But the reality is, Tony Pollard weighs 209 pounds. Okay, an ideal running back typically in the NFL weighs between 215 and 225 pounds. His BMI is just right, 29 and a half. So, but his durability, I want to speak to his durability. Can he carry the load? I think people are thinking, they're looking at 5.2 yards a carry last year and the year before, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, now he's going to be rushing for Dallas, an explosive offense. I don't think he can carry the load. I don't think he's an every down back. I think many managers are going to be disappointed when they draft him in the 2nd and 3rd round because he doesn't live up to the hype. But that's just my thoughts. I'm open to what you guys think. You guys could disagree with me, but I think Tony Pollard is rated too high. He's rated 15th overall, RB7. That's a round 2 pick. That's just too high for my liking.
I have a Pollard hot take that I'm going to save for later, but I have a strong rebuttal against this Pollard hatred coming right now.
I guess
there's a lot of Pollard lovers out there because we have a lot of Cowboy fans in the world, but I'm
most
sure
popular team in the world.
Yes, right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so why don't we move on? Who do we think is too low? These are people that you are targeting, maybe not necessarily in later rounds, but you want to jump on because other people don't have them rated as high. Will, who do you have rated too low?
All right, I'm excited to talk about this guy. Who is rated too low right now? Kyle Pitts. So he's coming off the board as the 6th tight end, 58 overall. Have we forgotten this guy was he was the first tight end in 50 seasons to have 1,000 receiving yards as a rookie. That's unheard of. And he was doing that with poor quarterback play, questionable play calling. I think the Falcons offense improves as a whole this year. I think that their running game opens things up for him and Drake London. Now, he missed 6 games last year with the torn MCL, so he is high risk, high reward. But this is a guy I see as someone who could finish as the overall tight end 1, and you're getting him as the 58th player off the board. I think that's way too low.
No, and the thing about Pitts, let's never forget, he's the highest drafted tight end, I believe, in NFL history.
Oh, yes.
Metrics off the board, talent off the board. I mean, to say that the Falcons offense will be much better this year, I mean, duh. I mean, one of the worst passing offenses in league history in the last 10 years. If it weren't for the terrible Chicago Bears, I believe they would have been the worst in the last 10 years. But Pitts has potential, man. He could blow up. He could blow up.
I think it's overrated.
Yeah. So my take on it is who's too low? My man Lamar Jackson. I just love me some Lamar Jackson. At his potential, he can easily be number one in fantasy and dominate every single week. I remember the year he won MVP and he was unstoppable in fantasy. Yes, we are concerned about his injury. Yes, but last year he could have probably played the last few games last year and even the playoff game, but he was in silent protest because of his contract. So I think he could have played, but he decided not to. And honestly, his production last year was hindered by the Ravens' injuries overall. He's obviously has his legs and his vision to zigzag between defenders when he runs, and he ranked second in Pro Football Focus rushing grade among QBs in 2022 with 6 games of 70-plus rushing yards. And I believe that he can really surpass that. Since becoming a full-time starter in 2019, get this, Lamar ranked first among QBs in rushing attempts at 580, rushing yards at 3,700, and rushing yards per game at 69.3. In that same span, he's been QB3 in fantasy points per game at 22.68. That includes last year, which was a down year for him, and the previous year, which there was a lot of injuries as well. Lamar is a fantasy one-man wrecking crew. His receiving core is better this year than it's ever been. OBJ, Bateman, rookie Zay Flowers, and let's not forget about his dominant tight end, Mark Andrews. There's early reports out of camp that agree with the notion that indicate that this will be a up-tempo, pass-heavy offense. His floor is a QB4, maybe a QB5 if Justin Fields balls out. But if his floor is a QB4, that's kind of where he's currently being drafted. His overall ADP is way too low. He's going to explode to top 10 fantasy and be a QB1 or QB2 when it's all said and done.
No, and I'll be honest with you, I agree with you in a lot of senses, and I think he could have came back last year. I believe they held him back. I don't think they wanted him to take the field. I think they wanted to lower his value for his contract. I think it was all business, but he can explode. He's going to be a league winner for a lot of people. I agree with that.
Okay.
What about you, Olu?
Mine too low is Josh Jacobs. They have him 19 overall and 8 in running back. This man led the league in rushing yards just a few months ago, which is last year. He had 12 touchdowns. How do we take that from last year and say, "Oh, you're 8th quarterback"? So I think it's criminally too low, and I think he has the potential to also lead the running back this year as well.
Yeah, the disrespect Josh Jacobs is getting is insane right now.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, they have Jimmy G, right? They have Jimmy Glass, right? And so what does that mean? Josh McDaniels is going to run Josh Jacobs more to protect Jimmy G. So he's going to have more attempts or potential to have more attempts.
Yeah, I think I think his ranking is so low because a lot of people were caught up in the contract things and when is he going to report to camp and this, that, and the third. But he's there. He's going to play. He's healthy.
Let me ask you this, Olu. So if he ends a season leading the league in rushing, do you think that impacts contract negotiation, or you think they still won't sign him?
Absolutely. Because now he's getting he already got franchise tag, so he's getting $12 million. So he got franchise tag, and they gave him $2 million more. So he's making $12 million. So by next year he's gonna get franchise tag again, which they probably wouldn't do. They're just gonna sign him outright, or he goes somewhere else
and get paid either way. Is what you're saying?
Hopefully, so let's all hope these running backs get paid
for him. So he's very motivated.
Yeah, I think we all need to hope these running backs get paid. For myself, okay, now some of you guys are going to call me a homer for this one, but I believe Daniel Jones.
Here he comes.
Let me finish. Shut your mouth, Olu. Listen, Daniel Jones, you guys are going to call me a homer. He's rated the 115th overall, the QB 15. Here, listen to me, okay? Listen to me. Daniel Jones started off his career with Pat Shurmur as his head coach and Jason Garrett as offensive coordinator. Jason Garrett lasts a season and a half, gets fired, then he gets to play with Joe Judge. Woohoo! Joe Judge is god. He's not bad. He was god awful. They finally brought in a competent head coach in Brian Dable and Mike Kafka to be his offensive coordinator. People talk about the turnovers all the time. Well, listen to this. Let me tell you about his turnovers, okay? Daniel Jones, rookie year. You guys with me on this? Follow me. His rookie year, he threw 12 interceptions. Sophomore year, 10 interceptions. His third year, 7 interceptions. Last year, the man only threw 5 interceptions. That's it. 5 interceptions. People will say, oh, but he only threw 15 touchdowns. Listen, it was about efficiency. He threw for 3,200, and then he rushed. The man rushed the ball for 700 yards. 700 yards and 7 touchdowns. Now, let me compare that. His head coach, Brian Dable. Where did he come from? Buffalo. Let me compare that to Josh Allen's rookie year. Now, you might be thinking, Matt, you're comparing a fourth-year quarterback to a rookie Josh Allen? Yes, I'm doing it because the organization did everything to screw the guy up. So listen to this. Josh Allen's rookie year, 2,000 yards passing. That's it. 2,000 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That is not impressive. His next year, 3,000 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Those aren't impressive numbers. I think people are snoozing on Daniel Jones. He can pass, he can run, and he has the best arsenal. Last year, he had a good year. He led the Giants to the divisional round of the playoffs. And who were his receivers?
Isaiah Hodgins.
Exactly.
No one
Isaiah
knows
Hodgins.
who this man is.
They signed midway from the Bills practice squad. Now they have Darren Waller, who they traded for. They have Jalen Hylett, who was a Biletnikoff winner. They re-signed Isaiah Hodgins. They have Darius Slayton. They re-signed Saquon Barkley. The O-line's improving. Daniel Jones, I believe people are too low on Daniel Jones. You can say what you want to say. That might be my rant. I was only supposed to talk 30 seconds.
I'll say this.
That's what I want to say.
I'll say this. Look at me.
What is this? A stretch?
That was a stretch.
Oh my god!
So Matt, I'm not too far off from you because he's QB 15. He's better than QB 15, but something about Daniel Jones, I just can't get on board with Daniel Jones being a good quarterback. We've seen him year in and year out. Yes, there's different coordinators, but I almost feel like he kind of is what he is. He had a good season. I just need to see him do it one more time. I need proof that he is actually legitimate.
I will say this. I'm not going to disagree too much because Daniel Jones is a running quarterback and he can run. So he can take off running. And also he has a very, very competent coach that can put him in position. If anything,
Coach of the year. Put some respect on his name.
If anything, the coach could put him in a good system, in a good play position to just dump the ball off to Saquon and Saquon takes it down, or he goes for a run, or dumps it off to higher, and he throws pretty deep balls. So I wouldn't knock that take too much, even though I like to hate on you and the Giants. And,
listen, man, like I said, I'm a Giants fan. But I didn't like Daniel Jones when they first drafted him, but now I'm like, hey, Danny Dimes not too bad. But okay, now we want to move on to the next segment. We want to move on to a segment called "Don't Sleep On." Okay, these are guys that you do not want to leave your draft out. Don't sleep on these guys, or maybe their price is a little bit lower if you're a DFS fan. But let's talk about don't sleep on these guys. This will be exciting. Will, go for it.
All right. I already know I'm going to get killed for this one, but this is a player I have a lot of stock in this year. I could not be more excited about Jahan Dotson. All right.
Love it.
He's coming off the board right now as the wide receiver 38. People are taking him behind Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy. I think he could – oh, here we go. I know I'm going to get killed for this. I think he is going to be the wide receiver 1 for Washington. He has potential for a top 18 finish. Let me just tell you some facts right here. Last year, weeks 13 to 18, his rookie season, he was 20th in target share in the league, 24% target share for a terrible Washington offense. Third in end zone target share, 50% there. He was 17th in weighted opportunity, 13th in yards per route run. He scored 7 touchdowns in only 12 games played, more than any other rookie receiver last year. He got no love, no recognition for it. Thank you. He has chemistry with Sam Howell. They showed that all throughout the preseason. And I think he's going to give Terry McLaurin a run for his money for the team lead in targets and yards. You can invest in a talented second-year receiver with confidence. We see it over and over again. These guys who shine their rookie year, they only improve. Dotson is my sleeper of the year.
Yeah, it's hard to hate on that. I think people are down on Washington. Don't even know their team name anymore.
Yeah, he's getting hurt for that.
Yeah, but let's not forget, who did Washington bring in for their offensive coordinator? Eric Bieniemy.
Yes, my man Bieniemy. He will open it up.
He could do some special things. Yeah, he could do some special things. I mean, and also I think with Terry McLaurin being out for who knows how long at the beginning of the season, it could be a week, could be 2 weeks, we don't know. John Dotson could win some people some weeks here early on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely think he is ascending up, and Washington offense is sneaky good. Watch out for them this offseason or this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my guy to sleep on here is I've been watching this guy for the last 2 or 3 years in fantasy, and he always seems to score a touchdown and produce. My man James Conner. He's overall 57 overall, but RB21. RB21. This guy has little competition in a running back room. Last 2 seasons, 26 total TDs. Last 2 seasons, 26 total TDs. Most of his production came last year, actually, when Kyler was actually out. So he actually represents a true 3-down bell cow tailback, which is a dying breed in today's NFL.
Yeah.
2022, he piled up 102.1 total yards per game and 7 total touchdowns over the last 7 outings of the year. And during that span, he was a high-end RB1, around 19.8 full PPR fantasy points per game across this stretch. So he's a guy who continues to get drafted late, but for some reason, every single year, this guy produces. So he's a guy that I feel like if you get him on your team, you're going to see huge upside this year.
Yeah.
I feel like James Conner's that guy that like nobody wants, but when you get him, you're not mad.
You're happy.
Yeah.
He's kind of like an above ground pool. It's kind of like, I mean, it's a pool, right?
It still works. It does its job.
It works. It does the job.
Does the job. He doesn't disappoint. He doesn't disappoint. What else are they going to do at the beginning of the season? Throw the ball? Yeah, right. Like they're going to run the ball, and he's going to get volume. Yeah, he's going to get volume.
And also Kyler's out the first part of the year as well too, so they're going to rely heavily on James Conner to produce.
Absolutely.
He might be out for the whole entire year, actually.
Kyler.
Yeah, they could sit him.
Yeah, he's not going to rush
By
back.
the time he's healthy enough to play, they're going to be like 0-6. What's the point at that,
I think Conner gets dinged because people think he's injury prone, but he's not been injured in a couple years. So he has this reputation with there's no facts to back it up. So, yeah, he's sneaky good. I like Conner there.
Has he missed games since he's been in Arizona?
I don't think so.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's verify that.
I know when he was with Pittsburgh, he had missed, some time, but he's been with Arizona now for like 2 or 3 years. And he's been highly. He was a touchdown machine 2 years ago. He was killing it.
That's the thing, is that he's not flashy, he's not pretty, but he gets a job done. He scores touchdowns, and he just gets overlooked every single year.
Not flashy, not pretty. That's a good segue to Olu. Olu, who is
okay. I'm going to start with this. Hear me out.
Okay. No. Why don't you start with this guy, how you drafted him in the first round of our Dynasty League?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, boy. Okay. Go ahead, Olu.
Let me introduce the audience to this. He's wide receiver 4, right? His name is Tank Dell, okay? Run to your draft and put him on your bench right away. What
team does he play for, Olu? What team does he play for?
He plays for the Houston Texans.
Okay.
So, hear me out, right? This guy, in the last 2 years in college, right, he's had 2,727 yards, okay? 29 touchdowns with 199 catches.
Who did he play for?
He played for Houston. Yeah, Houston College.
Yuck.
Okay. And then he was
that
the most
AAC conference.
he was
Not
the most
ACC, AAC.
productive. Listen out. He's the most productive receiver last year in college. 130, 1,398 yards and 17 touchdowns. All right, if that doesn't impress you, let's talk about this. Sauce Gardner, right? It's him. That's what we talk about. It's him, the best corner in the league. Do you know? When I go back and watch tapes of Sauce Gardner one-on-one receivers, one-on-one with Zay Flowers burnt him up, ate Zay Flowers up. There was only one player that makes Sauce Gardner look silly in college.
Talk about him.
So that is
Nathaniel Dell.
Exactly. Thank you.
Nathaniel.
He was the only player that made the best cornerback in the league right now look silly. And now, when we go to the preseason, I know we don't put much stock in the preseason. However, he had 8 targets for 5 catches, 65 yards, and 1 touchdown. With that 65 yards, 34 of those yards were yards after the catch. That says a lot. And when he runs route, he gets separation like nobody's business. So he's a sleeper. So if you have him, if you haven't drafted him in your fantasy, please go take him. He's gonna shock the world.
I would actually wait to get him. Don't take him early.
Don't take him in the first round of your dynasty
Don't
draft.
take him early. Don't take him early because we're talking about sleepers. Don't take him early.
Houston. The thing about the Houston offense is that they're a high passing flying team. Everybody gets yards. Their QBs come out throwing thousands of yards every year, and then when they get to the NFL, they don't produce. So I'm like, let's just kind of wait to see. I think he's wide receiver 3 or 4 in Houston. Right?
No, he's not. No, he will actually be for now. He will be the number 1 receiver in no time. No question about it.
Currently, he's not though.
But Collins, Robert Woods, and I love me some John Mechie. I love Mechie's story. I think he can be ahead of Tank Dell this year.
Let's put a pin in this. Let's put a pin in this, and then we'll come back. He might.
We're keeping receipts on Tank Dell.
He might. He's a slipper to become the rookie of the year.
Oh my gosh!
All right, we have lost our minds.
Listen to this.
Over
wait. That was another wide. That was also really wide, Olu.
You said what?
That was extremely
wide podcast. That was too wide, my brother. That was too wide.
Matt, bring us back. Bring us back, please.
I will say this, though. Steve Smith, NFL legend, co-signed, though, what Olu said and said Tank Dell is the man, okay? Steve Smith was one of the toughest receivers to play in the game. So if Steve Smith says it, part of me wants to buy into it.
Put some stuff.
You got to watch the tape. You have to.
Why not? And and I think with Olu's point, it's not like the guy's not going to get opportunity. Why wouldn't Houston play him? Like, there's no reason not to. They're not going anywhere. Usually rookie quarterbacks gel very well with rookie receivers. So why not play the man, That's going to be my person, not to sleep on. I'm going to say Jordan Addison. Now, Jordan Addison right now, I believe he's a wide receiver 41 on ESPN's rankings. I could be wrong, but coming out of college, I'm going to be honest, I did not like Jordan Addison. I was like, yo, this guy is tiny. I think he listed at 173. That's my size. And I don't think I'm an NFL-sized NFL player. Now, I do work out. I'll say I go to the gym. I work out. But no one would ever mistake me for an NFL player. Jordan Addison is tiny. Now, he won the Blitnikoff when he was at Pittsburgh with his face? Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett. He transfers to USC. He does pretty well. He had the sophomore breakout season. The trajectory was going well. But I did not like Jordan Addison until his landing spot. When he was drafted, he has the draft capital, first round, and he has the landing spot in Minnesota. Minnesota. Shed, are you really a Minnesota Vikings fan, though?
He's a very quiet fan. We never hear about the Vikings.
I'm a Vikings fan that grew up there in Minnesota. They're with the Moss era, the Chris Carter, Jake Reed, Robert Smith.
There it is.
The Warren Moon, Culpepper days. They were putting up numbers. So I was there when it was the Falcons we lost to an NFC Championship game with Gary Anderson, who ended up who hit every field goal that entire year, but then missed that one kick that really mattered that would have taken us to the Super Bowl. But it is what it is. But yes,
it is. I'll be honest. I like you mentioned Randy Moss. Shout out Randy Moss, my favorite athlete of all time. I do want to say about 5 years ago, Will on this podcast sent me like this beautiful Randy Moss NFL trading card. I was actually looking for it at my desk. Can't find it right now, but I do have it. Love Randy Moss. But anyways, Jordan Addison. So the landing spot, I think of all the rookie running backs coming out this year, whether it be JSN, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, and Zay Flowers, those first round guys, I'd make an argument that Jordan Addison got the best landing spot. I don't think he's going to have to play against double coverage. Yeah. Not when the Minnesota Vikings have Justin Jefferson and just resigned TJ Hawkinson. No. So Jordan Addison, a Biletnikoff winner, highly productive, though he is small, I think he'll be facing a lot of one-on-one coverage. Off man, zone. Let's not forget, the guy ran a 4.49. So I think Jordan Addison, I think he'll be productive right out the gate. Unlike a Quentin Johnston, put it in the books, I think the guy's going to be a bust. Zay Flowers, very talented. Not sure what he's going to be able to do going from BC to the NFL. JSN's incredible, but I think Jordan Addison can be productive right out the gate. That's just my thing. I don't sleep on Jordan Addison. Do you guys want to say anything about my take on Jordan Addison at all?
No, I agree with you because I think for nothing that he got the best landing spot because you have Justin Jefferson taking up double, triple coverage. You have TJ Hawkinson taking up coverage. Yes, the box is no longer loaded, but still he gets to see 1-on-1 and hopefully win this matchup.
And that O'Connell offense, it's built to pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Don't snooze on Kirk Cousins as a quarterback.
I was about to say that. Do not sleep on the GOAT.
Everyone's favorite guy after watching the Netflix series.
He gets so much
Everybody loves Kirk Cousins after that show, man. Right. Like, how can you not?
You can't not love that, man. No, I like Addison. To Olu's point, Addison, for me, is a candidate to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. If it's not Bijan, I think it's going to be Addison, because I think he will have the best season of all those receivers. And he'll get single coverage. He's an elite route runner. He's going to make for some easy throws for Kirk in space.
Yeah, I think JSN will have a better career.
I agree.
But I think Addison will have a better rookie season. You know, you can take hey, hold me to it. That's what I believe. I think Will co-signed it as well. But let's go to the next segment. We're going to talk about matchups to exploit. So obviously this week, week 1 of the NFL, I know many people are excited. You're setting your fantasy rosters. You're doing DFS, whatever it is. Matchups to exploit. Get this guy in your roster. Who do you want to put in your roster no matter what, Will?
All right, first guy that I want to talk about, week 1, yes, of his rookie season, is Anthony Richardson. He is in a smash spot against the Jaguars this week. Now, the Jaguars have a very good defense, but I predict what's going to happen in this game. The Colts are so bad. Jaguars are going to get out to an early lead. They could have a 2-3 touchdown lead at halftime, and then they're just going to play soft defense, bend, don't break. The Colts are playing this game without Jonathan Taylor, so I think you're going to see Richardson on a lot of design runs, a lot of read options where he may get nervous and go for the run. I don't think he's going to have great passing yards. I doubt he hits 200 yards passing, but I see him going for 80 to 100 rushing yards. You may get a touchdown in there. If you play in a points per first down league, he'll get a good chunk of first downs. I think he is a must start this week because of the matchup and not having Jonathan Taylor.
Yo, Anthony Richardson, come on. What y'all think of that one? You guys have any thoughts on that?
Anthony Richardson, he is solid. I mean, he's very raw, but his upside is – he's probably the only guy where I see his upside is more than Lamar. I mean, because he's big. Yes. I mean, his upside is more than Lamar. Once he gets going, right, I mean, it'll take him time to get going fantasy-wise. This year may not be a great fantasy year for him, get his feet wet, but once he gets going, year 2, year 3, don't be surprised if year 3, if he's the MVP of the league.
No, so here's my thought. I mean, like, Rich, I like him. I think people want to like him. I mean, he's 6'4", 244, runs a 4.4. I mean, the comp is that he's a raw Cam Newton, right? I mean, that's what people are saying. The passing is not there. But one thing that's interesting about Cam Newton, I mean, people hated on Cam, but when he came out, his rookie year, how many rushing touchdowns did Cam Newton get his rookie year? 14. The man
That's
had
unbelievable.
14 rushing touchdowns his rookie year. The Colts get to the goal line. Who's going to run the ball in? It's going to be Anthony Richardson.
It's Richardson.
Like, and let's not forget, like, again, people want to be down on his ability to pass. Justin Fields was a top 10 fantasy quarterback last year. Yet the Chicago Bears passed for the least amount of yards in like the last 10 years in NFL history. Yet the man was a top 10 fantasy quarterback. Why? Rushing upside. Anthony Richardson has a lot of rushing upside, and he's on a bad team. Sounds like the Chicago Bears from last year. You know, that's just my thoughts too. So I like Anthony Richardson.
I think the rushing upside is huge, right? Huge. Now, another thing, he has a cannon. He has an arm in him, and he has a 6'4" receiver on the outside to get the ball. 6'4", and he also has a 6'2" Pearson. Alex Pierce,
Alex Pierce,
6'3", so two big bodies on the outside.
He has a 6'3", and he has a slot receiver that can get open at a dime.
Then he has Josh Downs, who's like 4'3". Yeah,
but he can get open.
The man's name is Downs for a reason.
Yeah, he's trying to have a big year. As long as the O-line holds up, I think that's for everybody, obviously. But as long as the O-line holds up, he's set to have a big year.
Yeah, I think week one. I think he could
start have him week one.
Yeah, week one. Okay. And who
you got? Who you got, man? Who's your matchup?
Okay, so week one, Tyreek Hill versus the Chargers. In general, I'm a huge Tyreek Hill fan. He and his offense have a great opportunity to not only win the division, but also make noise in the playoff. Tyreek said himself that he's aiming for 2,000 yards receiving this year. And while he might not get there, this game is prime for him week one. The Chargers and Dolphins are lined up for a potentially explosive affair with neither of the secondary really right now. That means there's prime real estate for Tyreek to burn, run loose, go deep on the Chargers and really gain those yards. In ESPN's live draft trends, Chargers D is ranked 25th overall. That spells bad news for the secondary and good news for Tyreek and this offense. And this will be a high-scoring game. And keep in mind, remember Tua. When Tua's healthy with this receiving core, he puts up big numbers. Just to give you an idea of what this offensive power looks like. In 3 games last year, when Tua was healthy, he threw for 1,100 yards, 12 TDs, and within those 3 games, and the offense threw the ball about 39 times. So when he's right, this offense is legit and they're rolling. And this
when
is perfect.
He's right.
Yes, and when he's right. And this is
right.
And this is game one. So all I'm saying is week one, he's right.
Now, then he'll be all
right.
season.
So he's right. This defense is weak, and I see this being a high-flying game, so Tyreek's going to put up a lot of big numbers.
Love it.
That's interesting, though, because you guys, you do know who the pass rushers for the Chargers are, right?
The same guys that they were last year, though.
Yeah, but
their defense wasn't that good.
It wasn't.
It's week one. It's week one. You know who they are? Khalil Mack,
Joey Bosa, and Khalil Mack. Everyone loves them.
So I hope there's enough time for Tyreek to run downhill. Okay.
Yeah, but how many people had the Chargers defense in fantasy in week one, but by week 4 they were on the waiver wire?
They underperformed all year.
They got Khalil Mack. They got J.C. Jackson. Boom, done. Get out of here. Get on the waiver wire.
Right, exactly. So
anyways, Olu, who's your week one matchup to exploit?
So my on week one, Tom Brady Day in Foxborough.
There's the first time Tom Brady.
First mention.
Brady Day, right? In Foxborough, the Eagles 1 and 2 receivers, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, are going to have a party. They're going to have a party on that Patriots defense. Okay? So the Patriots defense was said to be one of the top defenses last year, but it's all smoke and mirrors because they only beat backup quarterbacks. whenever they face legit quarterbacks, they give up 30 points. Okay,
Right, they get
so they
lit
give
up.
up 30 points. So now you have Jalen Hurts, who you have to stack the box up for. You have to. Now you have Devon Swift. You have Swift as well. So guess what? You're gonna have a stacked box. So now the secondary is gonna, their top guy is Jack Jones and Jonathan Jones and the rookie Gonzalez. So I expect for Devontae Smith and AJ Brown to have a party on the Patriots defense.
So you know what, Olu? I'm actually liking that because Bill Belichick is known for taking something away. And if you're going to take anything away from the Eagles, you got to take away
It's the
Jalen
rushing
Hurts
game.
and the run.
Yes,
Yes.
the run. Yes.
Yes. So,
and what does
I
that
agree.
leave open? That leaves open the
Yeah.
two receivers.
But let's just be honest. I think starting Eagles wide receivers every week is probably a good choice. I mean, these guys are ballers. Like
Yeah.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I mean, these guys are great. My matchup to exploit is Justin Herbert versus Miami. Now, I don't really think that's a bold thing to say. Justin Herbert just signed a big contract. Justin Herbert has thrown for many yards so far in his career. But I think the key to all of this, and this might be, I was really big on Joe Burrow last year. I drafted him higher than many people thought I should have. And Joe Burrow was an incredible quarterback last year. I'm personally getting the same vibes from Justin Herbert. This is why. Last year, Justin Herbert, his offensive coordinator was Joe Lombardi. The team had the fourth lowest average depth of target, the third lowest ADOT while under pressure, the lowest when blitzed, and they were the 22nd lowest, the lowest when not blitzed, and the 22nd lowest average depth of target when blitzed. Ultimately, what I'm saying is the LA Chargers were not aggressive last year. In addition to that, they had injuries across their offensive line, and Rashawn Slater. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams only were on the field for 22% of snaps during the season together. And let's not forget, Justin Herbert also played with a cracked rib, okay? So what am I trying to say? The Chargers were not aggressive last year, yet they have all these weapons. Now they bring in Quentin Johnson. Keenan Allen's healthy. Mike Williams is healthy. Get out of here, Joe Lombardi. Let's get in Kellen Moore, who made Dak Prescott, of all people, a great fantasy quarterback. Justin Herbert is way more talented than Dak Prescott. Every mention Miami's down Jalen Ramsey.
Yes.
I think they're going to be incredible. That's my get him in your lineup, Justin Herbert. I don't know what you guys think. Do you guys want to say anything about that at all?
I think that's a safe bet. And Quentin Johnson might be a bust, but he is a big body that will open things up even more for them. Eckler, what he does out of the backfield receiving, I think Herbert is going to have a massive week 1 game against the Dolphins' weak defense.
Yeah, I'm getting many a shares of Herbert in my DFS stuff. But so we talked about matchups to exploit. We've got to go down to matchups to avoid. Let's talk about matchups to avoid.
All right, I'll take this first one here. So to Olu's point about that Patriots-Eagles game, you want to avoid anyone coming out of the Eagles' backfield. Do not start DeAndre Swift. Do not start Rashad Penny. Don't fall for it. The Eagles, yes, have an elite offensive line, but the Patriots are going to cater their entire defense to stopping the run and forcing Jalen Hurts to beat them through the air. Belichick is an expert at stopping the run and taking away half your offense. I think they're going to do exactly that, and you do not want to be stuck with one of those Eagles running backs producing nothing in week 1.
Good point. Good job. I like that.
So
yeah, I think everyone would agree with that.
So I would say, and this is where Ola and I part ways here. So I would say Houston's wide receivers, don't start them. It is a bad start for them week number 1. Rookie QBs take time,
right?
And week 1 is when they see everything at full speed versus practice and preseason. We don't know what CJ Stroud will be, and Baltimore defense is a bad testing ground for that. Ravens are known to have a great defense, and it takes a few weeks for offenses to kind of get clicking and get going, while defenses typically get out the gate and they start running right away. So you have a rookie QB, unproven or old wide receivers, a defensive coach, which means more heavy run and less pass. And this is even magnified even more when you have a rookie QB on that. So don't start them. The offense savings grace, I would say, is their tight end and also going to be the running backs that's going to bail them out. And when the Ravens bring the house, look for Stroud to dump it off to Schultz or to one of the running backs as a saving grace. Rookie QBs, first games, I have a few stats about that, is that they've kind of been all over the place. Cam, I know we talked about Cam, 422 yards, 2 TDs. You guys remember that debut back in, I believe, 2011.
Hello.
Andrew Luck, 309 yards, one touchdown in his debut. But then you also have the other side, right? You have Andy Dalton of 85-yard debut.
Oh.
Yet he's still in the league. He's still
in the league.
That guy's hanging on, man. That guy's hanging on.
Rocket is still kicking.
He's the cockroach of quarterbacks. He won't die.
He doesn't die.
He's still there. And then you also have Brandon Weeden, who had a pedestrian 118 yards.
What list is this? What list is this?
No one interception. But no one believed in these
Who else are you going to mention on this list? Brandon Weeden?
Christian Ponder.
Jake Locker? Blaine Gabbert?
No.
Ponder?
But also keep in mind, both of the rookie QBs with Luck and also with Cam, they both had what C.J. Stroud doesn't have. They had proven, legitimate receivers. Luck had Reggie Wayne and T.Y. Hilton. Cam had Steve Smith. And now Stroud ain't no Cam. He ain't no Luck, but he's probably not a Weeden. Is he an Andy Dalton? I don't know.
Probably not a Weeden. He's definitely not a Weeden.
He's definitely not a Weeden. But I think, though, at the end of the day, I think he'll throw for 100, 130 yards, maybe a touchdown. But most of that is going to go to the running backs and their tight end. I see him being a decent quarterback this year, but not just this early.
Okay. I just can't believe I don't disagree with Brandon Weeden got a shout-out.
Brandon Weeden, a bad shout-out. 4 interceptions,
all our
yards.
Listeners, do not get used to that. Okay, that's a one-time. You hear this obscure reference.
He might make a comeback. Brandon Weeden could make another comeback at some point. We should see if we can get Brandon Weeden on the show.
Shout out to my Cleveland fans out there.
We could get him on the show.
If we could get Brandon Weeden on the show, that would be
that'd be awesome.
Okay, I'll go. So, I think the player to stay away for week 1, you want to stay away from Daniel Jones. Absolutely. He probably have a great year, but for week 1, please stay away. Because first of all, Dallas Cowboy defense was one of the top defense in turnovers last year, right? And this year they added the great one. We call him the great one. I call him the great one. Stephon Gilmore, former defensive player of the year. Okay, he's on one side. On the other side, they have Trevor Diggs, and Trevor Diggs has led the league in interceptions for the last 2 years. So now on the front line, we have Michael Parsons and his crew, and I think they will bring the house down to on Daniel Jones. And if Daniel throws the ball, they don't have a receiver that can get open against those elite corners. So I do feel you want to stay away from Daniel Jones. Matt, do you have anything to say to that?
No, we're all entitled to our opinions. It's a free country. You can say what you want to say. That's fine.
No, I want to hear your thought on what I said. Like, what do you think?
I think you're a little tired this evening. That's what I think.
So you actually think the Giants have receivers that can get open on the Cowboys cornerback?
I think Daniel Jones can be a good fantasy producer this week. That's what I think.
Okay.
He's going to have to run for
Darren Waller going up the middle. I mean, they're healthy. They got Darren Waller. They got Jalen Hyatt who can go down the field. They got Darius Slayton who can go down the field. They have Isaiah Hodgins. I think Daniel Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if the score, if the over. Well, I could see a good scoring game. I could see a high scoring game, to be honest with you guys.
Wow. You think they can take that defense?
Micah Parsons. Here's what I think. Micah Parsons is the best pass rusher in the league.
He is a game wrecker.
He's a game wrecker. He's a game wrecker. But he had an incredible game against the Giants last season, the last game. But Andrew Thomas also had the flu at the same time. Andrew Thomas only gave up like 3 sacks all year. 2 of them were to Micah Parsons in that game where he was playing with the flu. Andrew Thomas, one of the best tackles in the league. I don't think the result's going to be the exact same. I think Daniel Jones could be all right.
Oh, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see this.
I'm looking forward to it.
Who you
Shout
got,
out to
Matt?
my boy Pedro Delgado, who's a big Cowboys fan, but we're gonna watch the game together. Love it though. Love it. Anyways, my guy, stay away from Isaiah Pacheco. I don't have a lot to say from that. I just don't like the guy. He's a 7th round draft pick. He got the job by default because Clyde Edwards-Helaire stinks and McKinnon is more of a receiving back. I don't see, honestly, since when is Kansas City a team that's going to run the ball or kill you on the ground? Not going to happen. He's not going to get goal line carries. Give him maybe 40, 50 yards. I don't know. I'm just not a big Pacheco fan. Anyways, if anyone wants to say anything about that, I don't have the stats to say it. I'm just saying avoid Isaiah Pacheco. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I sold all my stock on Pacheco coming into this year. I got some returns last year, his rookie season. He surprised. I don't see him repeating that this year. I think they're going to be much more of a committee backfield.
Yeah. Yep. I don't put stocks on Kansas City's running back.
Yeah. How about this? Last segment we're going to do for this episode, let's talk about our hot takes, our prediction for the year. Listeners, please hold your receipts. Hold us to it. We're not going to change this. Olu has a problem of saying one thing one week and then the next week saying he didn't say that. But anyways, hold us to this one. What do you guys think here? Hot takes.
All right. Here's my hot take. This goes all the way back to what we were talking about at the beginning. My hot take is this. Tony Pollard will finish the year as the overall RB1. This is why. They're going from Kellen Moore, open. Hold on. Stay with me, Olu. They're going from this open passing concept with Kellen Moore to this traditional old school offense with Mike McCarthy. No creativity. They are going to run the ball. It's a contract year for Pollard on the franchise tag. The Cowboys have every reason to run him into the ground. They have no reason to preserve him. They have no other running backs who's going to hot goal line carries or going to take.
Have you forgotten about Deuce Vaughn? Have you forgotten about Deuce Vaughn?
You were talking about how Jordan Addison is tiny. Deuce Vaughn will be the smallest running back to ever take a regular season snap in the NFL. Listen to this, though. Let me give you all some stats and some facts. Tony Pollard scored more fantasy points than any other running back in the league last year from week 7 to 16 when he was only playing 53% of the snaps. It was 19.3 fantasy points per game. He was the RB1 for that 10-week stretch. Among 42 qualifying running backs, he was the first in explosive run rate and yards after contact per attempt. I think the Cowboys are run heavy this year. It's all going to Pollard. He will shock the world with an RB1 finish.
RB1. Wow.
Hold him to it. Hold him to it.
So I'm a fan of Pollard. I'm not an RB1 fan of Pollard. I think he'll do a lot better. And, he is going to get a lot of the reps there. He is the main guy. He has proven that he can produce. A lot of people are down on him because of his size, because they say he can't carry the load up. But I don't think so. I think he will be a good running back. I don't think he'll be that high. I think that he'll be probably top 10 possibly, but not RB1. So my bold prediction for this year is I'm a huge Amon-Ra St. Brown fan. He's going to be a top 3 finish this year. I'm a huge. So I've invested on him in my Dynasty League as well, so I'm a huge fan. St. Brown, he's been the best player taking day 3 since Tyreek was taken 7 years ago. The Lions have no other dependable wide receivers. Yes, they have Jameson Williams, but he hasn't been there, and he hasn't been as quite as dynamic in practice. His own coach even said that he hasn't been that good. And even when he comes back, he's dealing with mentally from the injury. And also last year, he only caught 1 pass in 6 games. The offense will be better this year. They'll be a lot more explosive. 2 seasons ago, St. Brown caught nearly everything thrown his way, dropping only 1 pass on a team-high 119 targets, about 75.6% catch rate, which is huge. His targets went up from 119 to 146. His reception went up from 90 to 106. Receiving yards went from 912 to 1161. And touchdown went from 5 to 6. That's improvement across the entire board, which promises to be even better under the second-year offensive coordinator. St. Brown is just about everything fantasy owners are looking for in a wide receiver. He's not only good on every facet, but he plays a very efficient game. He's a clear-cut number one, and he's as durable as any wide receiver, any player in the league. There was a stretch, I remember I think it was last year, he went like 8 games, averaging at least 8 receptions. Some sort of style.
Yeah.
I mean, he's huge, right? And then this offense will just be better. So he's definitely poised to take a huge jump this year.
Dude, Amon-Ra, the sun god.
That's right.
He doesn't have much competition. Like, Jameson Williams is suspended for 6 games. The guy has been nothing but productive. Like, yeah, he's incredible. The guy's incredible. Olu, what about you, man?
I'll go with my hot take is the Patriots, the New England Patriots, will win 5 games or less. Okay? They will win 5 games or less. Because, number one, we all know Bill Belichick's without Brady is not a very good coach.
Then shout out number 2 for Brady.
There it is.
Hold up. Let's just update the fans out there. Is that Olu is a huge Brady fan, but then everything against Belichick. He think Brady.
I'm a Patriots fan. Okay.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I don't believe you're a Patriots fan.
Olu is like a jealous ex-girlfriend who has seen the man go on to great success, but internally just wants nothing but evil for the past relationship.
Okay. Belichick's average without Brady is 5'11". That's his rank. 5'11". Before Brady, 5'11". After Brady, I mean, he had some success here and there, but it wasn't like an ultimately winning season. So I do believe Patriots will win 5 or less. They don't have a really inspiring receiver core at all. If Devontae Parker is your wide receiver number 1, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's bad. That is very bad.
You're in trouble. And then your number 2 is Juju, and the reports coming out saying his knee is about to explode. Okay,
Juju's an incredible social media star, bro. Everyone loves Juju.
maybe Belichick will benefit from that. Okay, so now we have wide receiver number 3, who is Kendrick Bourne, who hasn't done much since he's been in New England. I like wide receivers. I do like him a lot. So needless to say, their wide receiver core is a mess. What's even worse than that is the offensive line receiver. I mean, the offensive line. The offensive line is atrocious. Okay, so how are they going to protect Mac Jones? Okay, and then the backup QB is Matt Corral. So it's a mess. It's a mess all across the board. You can't just rely on the defense to take you across 8 wins. It's not going to happen.
What about Stevenson's the running game?
The offensive line is bad. So how can you run when you have bad offensive line?
Everyone's going to stack the box against them to stop Stevenson.
Exactly.
Have a lot of shares of Stevenson.
Get them to go deep. With Devontae Parker is last in separations among receivers.
I know.
Or throughout his career. Okay, so they will not win more than 5 games. That's my hot take.
So I had to look it up. Juju Smith-Schuster. I was like, I know that man's mother did not name the boy Juju. Do y'all know what his first name is?
He's Smoan.
John Sherman Smith-Schuster. So I guess that's why he goes by Juju, because he doesn't.
Juju for short.
Oh, my name's John Sherman. All right, sorry about that. If Juju ever listens to this, my apologies, Juju.
So yeah,
Juju
I'm looking forward for them to win less than 5 games, and I think the reason why I would like that is because it's time we start putting Belichick on the hot seat.
Oh boy, there it is. There it is.
Absolutely.
So my hot take for the year, I believe this wholeheartedly from the bottom of my heart. I'm a huge Bijan Robinson fan. I think Bijan Robinson will finish as the RB1 this season. I think he will finish ahead of Christian McCaffrey. I think he'll finish ahead of Austin Eckler. I think he'll finish ahead of Nick Chubb. I think for fantasy purposes, fantasy scoring, Bijan Robinson will be the RB1 of your fantasy football season. Why do I think that? The guy is the best prospect to come out of college since 2018 when Saquon Barkley came out. 5'11", 215 pounds, runs a 4.46, tore it up at Texas. Then he gets the draft capital and the landing spot in Atlanta, which had the most rushing yards in the NFL last year. Think about what rookie running backs have done in the NFL. We've had some injuries, but before injury, Breece Hall was on a tear last year. Kenneth Walker, had a great rookie season. Before that, Najee, rookie season, league winner. Before that, Jonathan Taylor had an incredible rookie season. Before that, Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb each had good rookie seasons. These guys, Kareem Hunt before that, Zeke Elliott before that, rookie running backs. I love rookie running backs. Bijan Robinson, no matter where you draft, if he was drafted as late first round, early second round, you got to steal. You got to value. I think Bijan Robinson finishes as the number one running back in fantasy football this year.
I'm definitely a fan, Matt, because rookie running backs typically end up being a top 10 RB running back in the league. I think only McCaffrey was RB 13, but most of the rookie running backs with a first round top high draft grade end up being top 10. So I can definitely buy that.
It's there. It's within range for him, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and the thing about Bijan that people snooze on is the man can catch the ball. Like, he can play. He can play football. He can run. He can catch inside the tackles, outside the tackles. I mean, the guy can do it all. I think he's going to be a fan favorite of a lot of people. But anyways, that concludes our show for the day. Thank you so much for listening to episode 1. We want to let you know that we are going to come out with weekly episodes. That is our goal for now. This was the first episode we ever did. We hope to develop this even more, bring in guests. Our hope is that we could do injury reports. We can have recap the last week. They're playing the music to get me off, but we want to give projections each week. We anticipate episodes will drop either on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Please stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us, share it, whatever you want, and we'll be back next week for more content. Thank you so much.
Can't wait.
Later.